Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different. To Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.
I am excited once again to have all of you join us on our show. As you know, our show is meant to bring social change implication to our society and to our community. And for the sake of those who are just joining us for the first time, I want to take this moment to welcome you to Be Inspired Podcast Network. As you may know or you may not know, Be Inspired Podcast Network is an international non-for-profit organization based in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And our mission is basically to bring social change implication to people. And so today we are going to discuss a very important topic, a topic which borders on a clinical psychology perspective. More importantly, the issue of mental health. We know that mental health has become a subject which is discussed all over the world because of current situations that countries, nations, and individuals have been encountering. And so mental health is an interesting and intersectional issue with intervention required in education, social welfare, criminal justice system, and of course at the civil society or the NGO sector. Nonetheless, significant input is needed, especially in the low-level and middle-income countries. Health infrastructures to address these needs is highly limited. Health system constraints have limited the scaling up of mental health interventions, especially the limited availability of specialists, staff for support and supervision to help promote services within primary care, and for the leadership of specialist service development at districts, regionals, and at national levels. Folks, I know you are all eager to hear our great speaker today. Our speaker, who is a very, 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 very good friend of mine, is somebody I admire a lot. He's a son, and I'm super excited that today he has agreed to share his expertise with us. So Emmanuel Kofi Danso have a Bachelor of Arts and also has a MPhil. He's a registered mental health nurse currently employed at Mamobi General Hospital as a clinical care nurse, involved with both inpatient and community mental health, as well as mental health promotion through education. Emmanuel serves as a member of the quality improvement team at Mamobi General Hospital, overseeing the hospital's various quality assurance and improvement activities. In addition to his clinical duties, Emmanuel provides ongoing psychological support and has organized career counseling seminars as a graduate counseling guidance and counseling coordinator. He also teaches mental health related courses at Western Hill School of Nursing at Ofanko. Emmanuel is the 2016 Nelson Mandela Washington Fellowship, a prestigious honor awarded him as one of the only 1,000 young African leaders chosen out of over 40,000 applicants to attend this unique 6-week fellowship in America, culminating with a Mandela Washington Fellowship Summit initiated by the former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is a flagship program of the Young African Leaders Initiative and empowers young people through academic coursework, leadership, training, and networking. In 2015, Emmanuel took part in the first round of Sawasawa Change Making Program in South Africa. As a result of this fellowship, Emmanuel felt compelled to start the Alliance for Behavioral Wellness, a non-profit organization aimed at advocating, supporting, and creating awareness on mental health and people living with mental challenges. In 2014, Emmanuel founded the Sickle Cell Nest, whose purpose is to create awareness, offer appropriate and sensitive genetic counseling support, and provide hope for not only those living with sickle cell disorders, but also families and friends. Having served as the Secretary, Executive Vice President, and 2017 President of the International Non-for-Profit Youth Citizens Advocacy Organization, committed to creating impact and investing in the future of this world, Junior Chamber International Accra Royal Chapter. Emmanuel is currently the immediate past president of the 2018 team. Emmanuel also served as the president of the Accra chapter of the AFS Intercultural Exchange Program. Emmanuel also volunteers for Sickle Life Elite Nursing Agency and Konote Ahulu Genetic Epidemiology Sickle Cell Foundation, KAGE. Emmanuel holds MPhil in Guidance and Counseling, a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with Political Science, and a Diploma in Mental Health and Psychiatric Nursing. Folks from around the world, let me just thank you so much for tuning in. I could see the numbers, 11,700 people listening to Emmanuel right now. And so on this note, let me take this moment to welcome my friend and my brother Emmanuel Kofi Danso to Be Inspired Podcast Network. Emmanuel, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abe. And greetings to everyone around the world who is listening to me. I'm so opportune to be on the Inspired Network today.
Oh, thank you so much. And we are very grateful that you are giving us the opportunity not only to interview you, but also to share your vast knowledge with us. So without wasting much time, why don't you take this moment? I know I read a tall profile of you, but why don't you take this moment to tell us in your own words who Emmanuel is?
Thank you very much, listeners. My name is Emmanuel Koshudan. So I'm a registered mental health nurse currently with Mamobi General Hospital and under the Mental Health Authority. I've been a nurse for the past 9 years. This July will be my 10th year as a registered mental health nurse. I'm also a counseling psychologist, graduated from the University of Education, Winneba, with MPhil in guidance and counseling in 2015. I'm also a mental health tutor or a teacher at the Western Hills School of Nursing and teach other mental health related subjects in Nursing Training School of Angkor. Currently, I'm the IPP immediate past president for JCI Accra Royal and quite in a number of volunteer organizations because I believe service to humanity is the best of life and we are working to save humanity and make life better for other people. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the brief introduction. And so today we are going to discuss a very important topic, which is mental health. But before we go into that, Emmanuel, can you give us an overreaching view of the current state of mental health in Ghana and folks from around the world, in as much as our case study, our focus is going to be Ghana. We'll go beyond Ghana because I know there are a lot of people from outside of Ghana, and some of these things are interrelated. Even though the dynamics and the environment may be a little different, they are mostly the same. And again, like I said, if you follow thoroughly, you realize that Emmanuel has the background to speak not only about Ghana, but to other international dimensions. So Emmanuel, can you give us an overreaching view of the current state of mental health in Ghana?
Thank you very much. So, according to the World Health Organization, it defines mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a meaningful contribution to his or her community. So when we talk about mental health or when we mention mental health, it encompasses a whole lot of dynamics. So one would just come to a point that sometimes we limit mental health to just the ground of someone being on the street or just being aggressive or just not having an appropriate behavior. But when we come to mental health itself, it encompasses a whole lot of division. So, an overarching view of current state of mental health in Ghana. Ghana is a developing country. We are a middle status income country, and mental health is also growing or developing, as I can say. Ghana has had from past 3 mental health facilities or hospitals, as I would state it. It also has other outpatient and inpatient facilities in some hospitals. Not quite long ago, the Mental Health Authority was set in motion and the Mental Health Bill was passed in Ghana. So it is doing a lot of work to bring mental health to the doorstep of clients or our patients within the community. So now with the law, every hospital in Ghana should have a mental health facility within it. So district hospitals, regional hospitals do have attachments or wings of psychiatry or mental health, which takes care of people within that community or that district. So this is where I am part of the Mobi General Hospital, which is under the Ayawaso subdivision of the Greater Accra region. Currently, the gap for treatment by research is about 97%. So you could see that it's just about 3 or a bit more than 3% of people who are able to have access to mental health facilities and treatment in Ghana. The number of specialists, I'll not say they are much, but it's coming up from previous numbers. So let me say from a research conducted in 2011, it is saying that we have just about 20 psychiatrists within the whole country, a country of a population of over 28 million and over 20,000 psychiatric nurses and a little over 1,000 community mental health nurses and officers. So you could see that the state of mental health in Ghana, as per the population, there's quite a gap. But I know and believe that the Mental Health Authority is doing its best to just bridge this gap within mental health in Ghana. So in the state, in Ghana, this is the general overview. Across the world, WHO also gives some numbers of about the treatment that have been over 90% with little psychiatrists being around in various countries. But for advanced countries, they have quite a number of psychiatrists who are able to attend to patients, but there's still some gap as the ratio of patient specialist relationship.
Got you. So I mean that's a very nice way to begin the conversation, folks. I know a lot of you are eager to ask questions. I've seen questions pouring in already. Well over 30 questions have come in already. But let's have our conversation, and I'm sure when we come to the question time, Kofi will do a good job to respond to all your questions. So let me ask you, Kofi. So how has the field of mental health changed since you started? Because I'm sure a lot of things have changed because you had mentioned to us you have been a mental health nurse for almost 9 to 10 years now. So I'm sure a lot of things have changed in terms of technology, in terms of stigmatization, in terms of perspective and all that. In your own ways of your own experience based on what you've been doing, how has the field of mental health changed since you started?
Thank you very much for that question. In fact, being a mental health nurse, a lot has changed. There has been a drastic change from previous methods to new methods. Technologically, now we can access information from all over the world to help in building up the mode of treatment and how we relate to our clients and how we treat them. Since I started, there has been an expansion, especially in the community. So previously, community mental health nurse wasn't much of a big thing. We all concentrated on the bigger hospital, which is down here in Accra, in the southern part of the country. And I believe you know Ghana, the map of Ghana. So having 10 regions and 3 major psychiatric hospitals, 2 in the greater Accra and 1 in the central region, there was a vast difference. So with the introduction of community mental health nursing and facilities in almost all the hospitals and facilities, health facilities in the country, now it has expanded to various regions, and we have quite a number of registered mental health nurses being posted to those regions to also help in sending the message of mental health out there, and also help in recognition and treatment of patients with psychiatric conditions. So, in my own perspective or in my own view, the current state of mental health is upgrading, it's going up, it's changing in Ghana, and I believe it's across the world because it's become a very huge topic around the state of health in everywhere or around the world.
Got you. So, having said that, clearly, your focus area has been more or less like a community health. So, what is community mental health, and how is that different from other mental health areas?
All right, thank you very much. When we say community mental health, to come back to my previous introduction. So after completing training school, I was posted to the mental hospital, Accra Psychiatry, from 2008 to 2011. Then was posted into the community to work at Mamobi. So I've been at Mamobi for almost 7 years now. When we say community mental health nursing, it is that part of nursing which is much more closer to the doorstep of the client. When we look at primary health care talks about taking health to the doorstep of the client, or how the patient is able to access health closer to his or her environment or within his community, so that everyone within the community can support it. So community mental health nurses will work in a framework of treatment by a team providing health or health care to people within their community, within their homes. So our work mostly involves home visits. We go into the homes of the clients to see how they are doing and how the family is interacting to them, how their community is also accepting them, how they've come back or they are stable now and they are getting better within their community. So when we say community mental health nursing, it's actually the nursing treatment that we give within a community or within where the patients are found.
Got you. So in the layman's language, when we talked of community mental health, if I may correct me if I'm misleading my listeners, what I understand from what you said is that it's more or less bringing the specific health issues or handling the specific health issues within a specified community.
Exactly.
Very good.
Exactly.
So that clarification is clear.
If I may,
yes, please go ahead.
If I may add on, this would be somehow different from the hospital-based care that we give. So with this one, we give the treatment within the community where the patient finds himself or herself, either than being in the hospital or the facility to be taken care of.
Got you. So, but you had also mentioned that you were posted to the Ayawaso area. Now, so describe, just for the sake of my listeners who are not familiar with Ghana and Ayawaso and all that, describe the Ayawaso district and the general community services available to the population. What kind of population is there? What type of demography of people you're dealing with, and why that particular district is so important to you?
Thank you very much. I would say that the Ayawaso district is one of, to give an example, one of the cities or districts in, for example, the state of Virginia. So, for example, Woodbridge area, that would be a district. So, in Ghana, districts are categorized by numbers. So, the numbers in Ayawaso, the population overview of Ayawaso is more than 530,000 people who have been counted and are in that demography. So when we talk about these people, the main form of occupation is petty trading, a few businessmen who are also within the community, and also other companies and factories, especially printing and all which has got to do with manufacturing within that community. The number of children is a bit high. Women are also very high. I can't give the specific numbers because of changing data. So if we talk about the demography of the people, that's what they do. Basically, they are a mix of all tribes from Ghana, especially Ayawaso is made up of Muslims, but we have everyone there. It's a community which is calm, which is peaceful, and the people are very, very accepting and they accept health as it comes to them. So, if I may describe in simple terms, Ayawase district is one of the districts out of the 16 districts in Greater Accra.
Got you. Thank you so much for that clarification and also letting people know exactly the the functional role and the kind of people who live in that district. So now let me ask you this. So describe the process for integrating mental health into the general health care. Because a lot of people don't seem to understand the difference between the general mental health and then the community services. So, can you give us a bit a process that is involved in the integration of mental health into the general healthcare program?
Thank you very much, listeners. If we talk about integration, how we can invite mental health into general health care, Dr. Abe mentioned from the beginning the stigma, discrimination when we mention mental health or psychiatry everywhere. It's all over the world. So, in order to let people have access and to understand what mental health is and also seek treatment, mental health has also been integrated or invited into general health care. So, for example, I'll take someone going to the hospital with a headache or flu or malaria. The person going into that hospital is known as a patient or is called a patient. So the person is sick and just going to seek treatment. But for example, if you walk into the mental health facility or the psychiatric hospital, there is this general stigmatization or there is this general assertion that, in quote, you are mad, irrespective of whatever you are going to do in at that place. So I'll give the story of when I started work earlier at the psychiatric hospitals, and some friends from the university saw me entering there a number of times. Then they called me in school and asked, Emmanuel, we've seen you entering the psychiatric hospital. Are you a patient or are you seeking treatment there? And I said, no, I work there. And I was shocked they asked me that question because it is not only someone who has a problem who enters a hospital. There are personnel there. So as our session goes, everyone who works with mental health people is also having a mental health problem. So they came to a generalization that mental health has to be integrated into the general health care system so that everyone will get to know that seeking mental health is just like mental disorders or mental illness. It's just like any other illness, and you can seek it everywhere. And the stigma and the discrimination of both patients, family, and even the personnel or the professionals is taken away. So the integration process has come a long way, and we have benefited a lot from it because it has reduced the stigma and the discrimination, and it has also improved the access to care and comorbidity. In integration, where we have a public health division in the general hospital, we all go out to look at our clients or to see what is happening in the community. And this gives us a chance for early identification and treatment. And also within the integration, there's continuity of care. So clients are able to rather use the general facility than to use the psychiatric hospital, which would, in quotes and unquote, tag them as mental patients. So that's how far the integration of mental health has come.
Good. So then, I'll after this question, I'm going to ask a few questions that have come in, and then we'll continue with our interaction. But then, having said that, who are mental health personnel? Because who are especially community mental health personnel? What is the difference between a community a mental health personnel and a general mental health personnel?
Thank you very much. So when we say community mental health personnel, these are people who are trained to have a, a much greater perspective into their community or to know their community and how to give care to their clients. So when we talk about the personnel under community mental health, these are psychiatrists who are posted to these general hospitals or the health facilities to work with the community. We also have physician assistants in psychiatry or mental health. We have registered mental health nurses. We have community psychiatry nurses, then community mental health officers, social workers, and community health volunteers. So these are the personnel which make up the team of community mental health.
Got you. So then one clearly now get to know the distinction between the community mental health personnel and the general mental health personnel. So what services do community mental health personnel provide? I know our focus today is solely around community mental health. So what kind of services do mental health personnel provide?
Thank you very much. So, as a community mental health, some of the services we provide are promotional and preventive programs. So, in terms of health education, in terms of early identification of symptoms of mental health, and referring to the appropriate places or helping to treat within the community. We also do diagnosis, treatment, and referral. We do home visits, that is, visit the clients in their houses. So when I say visit the clients in their houses, basically when people or when patients are admitted at the psychiatric hospital or any facility, after they have been discharged, there needs to be a follow-up. So this follow-up has to be done by the health professionals to see how the patient is doing within the community. So that's home visits. We trace their homes, we visit their homes, we see the family, we see the settings in which they are. Then also crisis intervention services when there are emergencies in terms of psychiatric symptoms or mental health symptoms. We also attend to it. Then we do counseling, support, and psychoeducation. So in our education, we educate churches, mosques, organizations, schools, and people within the community. So any few group of people you find, you preach the mental health to them. Then collaboration with other community and hospital-based service providers. So we collaborate mostly with public health personnel. So public health personnel could be in the community who also have much interaction with the patients. We have a collaboration with them. So they might have, for example, school health services. We help them in the school health inspection and services that we provide. So we go there to assess the mental health part, and they do the general part. And also we do advocacy. Clients who miss the math, we serve as a mouthpiece for clients within the community. So we go back to their communities. So then, yes, mental illness is just like headache. You take medication, you are managed on it, and you're okay, and you can do anything. Also, we provide training and research. Then we promote community participation. Then we also do community-based rehabilitation services.
Thank you so much. Now let me go to some of the questions that have come in from around the world. Why don't we start from Liberia? And I have Joseph. Joseph, question to you. Joseph says that, hey, thank you so much. Mental health is a very important area of subject that the world need to focus on. We have so many crazy people in leadership now that the world is becoming even more dangerous. So the work you do. Hey, continue to keep it up. It's a good work you are doing. My question to you is that in Africa, why is it that when people are diagnosed of mental health issues, they are left on the street and their situation becomes so bad to the point that they walk on our streets almost naked until they die? Why is that the case in Africa most of the time?
Thank you very much, Joseph, and thank you for the commendation. Uh, I mentioned stigma. Mental health from ages have been seen or perceived as spiritual something. And in the African culture context, we believe that these conditions are sometimes bought from the spiritual world and given to the person. So the moment you go closer to the person, you are also liable to get it. So we consider mental health to be an infectious something. And the stigma which is given by the society or people within the community that no matter how you treat someone with mental health issues, the person still has a little thing there. So he or she can become aggressive, he or she can come and destroy things around, or the person cannot do anything for him or herself again. So the stigma around mental health has been something which is all over the world, all over the world. And it's a case where we need a lot of education for people to understand that mental health is just like any medical condition, which is treated and managed. Someone with diabetes and hypertension will be on drugs forever. So if a person with mental illness is stabilized on drugs and is doing well and can do anything or everything that he or she was previously doing, and even more than that, then by the stigma. So I'll say the stigma around it in Africa is what is leaving these people on the streets and being abandoned by even the family people, the family members, because it goes a long way to also be like, hey, since someone has a mental illness in the family, then all of you also have mental illness. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for that question. Let me go to Australia. So you see the diversity of the people listening to you. This is Robert in Sydney, Australia. And I must say, Robert is our frequent listener as well. And Robert says that, hey, thank you, Kofi, for this good job. I am a medical doctor here in Australia. And I treat a lot of people who have a lot of mental issues. I'm not a mental health physician, though, but of course, it falls within our work scope. My question to you is that what are some of the immediate challenges that mental health personnel workers have in Ghana? Thank you.
Thank you very much. When we talk about challenges, the first one I mentioned earlier on is the stigma. Even with you working with the person with mental illness, don't go out to a party and start dancing first. And yes, because he works with them, he or she has also become like them, or he's also having it. So the stigma attached to even the professionals is sometimes dehumanizing. It doesn't motivate the people. Here, I'll also say finances. I would mention that less than 2% of the budget of health is allocated to mental health. Less than 2%. So see how this is so disincentivized in the first place. Medications are also a challenge. When do medications come? How do we get it? And how accessible are them? Mental health for in Ghana is free. So from previous times it has been free. So seeking access to mental health is free. So from medication to everything, consultation is free. So the government has to pay. So one challenge that we face mostly is the intervention given by government in terms of psychotropic drugs and the treatment. So it gets to a time we let patients go and buy medication because these are not available. They are not available. This and many other challenges that we find within the community. And the most one I'll mention is the stigma and the discrimination. Even among the same health personnel within a facility, the psychiatry nurses, the psychiatrists, the community and mental health nurses are seen differently from general health practitioners. So those are some of the challenges I can mention for now.
Thank you so much. So let me, before I come back to our regular question, let me also go to here in California, in the United States, and this is coming from Chibi. And the Chibi's question to you is that, hey, in the US, almost every day, thousands of people are diagnosed of mental health. And we tend to play politics with it until those individuals get hold of guns and end up killing a bunch of people. Then we attribute their craziness to mental health. Is that the same case in Ghana where you live?
Thank you very much, today. Just some few years ago, it's not more than 3 years now, the president of the republic went to church service, and apparently there was a person who was holding a gun behind him, and there was an intervention by the security around him. So mental health is delineated from health. It is not seen by all by politics, as I put it. They put it somewhere. They don't understand it. They just degrade it. So if the person is in quote unquote mad, let him be. So we tend not to give priority to mental health until these people become a burden to the community and government itself. So once in a while, for example, when I was in the hospital, the security forces go around and pick all those who are on the streets and bring them to the hospital. And the point is, why can't we provide access to mental health everywhere so that people will get tickets? Also do more education for people to understand the signs and symptoms so that they will access that help immediately they find those signs and symptoms. So yes, in Ghana here, it is also the same story as in the United States. I might not know all behind what's in the United States, but it is the same here.
Great. So this question is coming from, of course, our the personality of the month of January 2018, Her Royal Highness Mamaga Ameto II, the Paramount Queen Mother of Alavanyo Traditional Council in the Hohoe Municipality in Cape Coast, in the Volta region. And her question to you is that, it says, thank you, Emmanuel. Is all mental health issues physical or some are spiritual? If some are spiritual, what can we do to eliminate that aspect of spiritual mental health? Because I believe strongly that 80% of mental health are spiritual things, but we keep on giving them medicine and health, and the health conditions will be getting on and on. What do you think about that?
Thank you very much, Mamaga. I'm very proud of you. I always listen to you whenever you come on the show. Spirituality of mental health. When you turn to read the professionals, one of the models that we might be talking about is the biopsychosocial model, where when you come into the social aspects, we don't remove anything spiritual out of the context. Yes, but professionally or medically, we research has shown that there is no possibility of spiritual attachment to mental health. But outside the professional background, people might have all their convictions. But to answer this question directly, when we look at the biological component or the causes of mental health, we don't see anything like spiritual. It's social issues, psychological issues, biological and chemical issues within the body of the individual. So, in order to aid in treatment and everything, we also add the spiritual part to it, because that's what the person tends to believe in. And we all know, or every individual have a perspective about who the greater thing is about. So that's the answer I can give.
I see. You are trying to be very careful with your response with regards to the question that Her Royal Highness asks you. But I mean,
Exactly.
let's face it. The truth is that in this part of the world where we lived in the United States, they don't believe some of these things are spiritual. They consider it to be health issues and mental problems. But where we come from, I'm talking of the motherland. And I tend to understand where Her Royal Highness is coming from. We tend to appreciate the fact that there are a lot of things that happen spiritually, and which is true sometimes, because we've seen situations where individuals have had psychological issues that they've been to hospitals and nothing has come out of it successfully. They ended up in a prayer camp and they are healed. And so that put, but of course, I'm sure you are working on a fine line as a medical practitioner and following the ethics and speaking within the confinement of your professional ethics, not to create a certain kind of confusion in the minds of people. I understand where you are coming from. Having said that, the reality is that we will find time and we'll also bring Emmanuel back on our show to discuss these issues, but we will not put him on the record as a healthcare professional to speak his mind from a spiritual perspective, because he himself is a very religious man. So he understands exactly the subject matter. But of course, when you are speaking on authority over a subject, you want to follow the guidelines and the rules that is permitted within the framework of your profession.
Thank you very much.
I like that. But now, when you were responding, though, you mentioned a bit about biopsycho social models. Can you take us quickly? Can you describe how you and your colleagues are overcoming some of these challenges, especially in understanding how mental health is provided? I know there are three or so models. There are models out there that will give people a better understanding to process that. One of such models, which I mentioned earlier on, was the biopsychosocial model of mental health. Now, can you share with us what is and how it plays out in the real world?
Thank you very much. We believe the human or a person has various components which brings him up to be whoever or whatever he is. There's a biological component where it talks about your cells, your organs, the system, the nervous system, the chemicals within you. So that makes up your biological component, who you are as a structure or the anatomical being who is there. So that's the biological part. The psychological part also talks about experience and behavior, which has got to do with your cognition, your emotion, your motivation, your judgment, your calculation about things. So that has got to do how with your brain works and how your brain interprets things within the society or wherever you find yourself. Then the social component has got to do with your community, your society, and your family, your friends, those who are around you, even your enemies, how you see them. All these three parts or these three levels come together to become the biopsychosocial model. So it's biological, psychological, and social. So we consider treatment or your health to stand on this main point. So, for example, chemicals within your brain are so high, for example, serotonin. There is a possibility that you feel depressed, you feel sad, you cannot do anything. That is decreased serotonin. The social aspect would also come to how people will interpret what you are having. So, for example, I go 2 days without talking to anyone in my house. Meanwhile, I live with my parents, my siblings, and friends within the community. If with me, I don't mind you. I'm just going. You might not know what is going on within my brain. So the social component is, hey, what is happening to Kofi or what is happening to Emmanuel? Has he gotten a broken heart or has he lost his job? Has he done this? No, it might not be, but it's the interpretation from the society. Then the psychological component comes from the motivation and the emotions of the person. And when we talk about emotion, it also has got something to do with mood. So the mood of the individual becomes the psychological part. So when we bring all these three together, it becomes the biopsychosocial model where treatment is based on. So community psychiatry nursing looks at this model very, very well. So from the biological component, we might be giving our medications and everything to correct whatever anomalies is with the genes, the tissues, and the system and the cells. The psychological component is where the psychoeducation and counseling. And also the social component comes where we educate the community that yes, mental illness is just like any other condition. It is treated and it is managed. So why don't we go on to support the person within the community, to have all the support from friends, from members of the family, from church, from the mosque, from anywhere to support in the healing of the person. When a person goes to a hospital and is admitted, you see a lot of people coming to visit him, maybe diagnosis, malaria or hypertension or diabetes. But when someone goes to the mental hospital, no, I can't go there because when I go there, as my mother said, probably spiritually it might be transferred to me because I'm going closer to the person, or I might be seen to also be a mental patient. So I will not even go near. So that's the biopsychosocial model, the biological aspect, the social aspect, and the psychological aspect of the individual.
Wow. Today, folks, we are learning so much from our resource guests, and I am taking all the notes, and I'm sure all of you too are taking note. All too soon, our time is running up. I know there are a lot of questions, so let me come to some of the questions before we wrap up because our time is getting closer. Can you believe an hour, 30 minutes is already gone? And so quickly, Emmanuel, let me go to Banjul here in the Gambia. And this question is actually coming from Kane. And Kane is writing from the Gambia. And Kane's question to you is that thank you, sir, for your deep knowledge on the subject. I know this will be controversial, but do you think that the current president of the United States of America is having a mental illness? Well, before you even answer that, Emmanuel, I don't know if you had followed the news, but next week, a certain group of senators and congressmen and women are actually going to meet with a psychologist to brief them on the mental state of the president of the United States. And that's a very serious thing to discuss. And so initially I wanted to pass on this question, but I thought it is still relevant. You are entitled to your opinion. You can choose not to answer, and I will respectfully respect that.
Thank you very much for this question. Coming from my personal opinion, I can't say anything for now. I'm looking at the biopsychosocial model again, where it comes to cognition, judgment, and motivation. So we'll ask the question: what motivates the President of the United States to make such statements and to uh, do all what he is doing now? So it's left with professionals to come in to really assess whether there's a state of mental health issue there or not. That's personally coming from Ghana and not actually seeing the president, interviewing him and to take information and a lot of things. I can't just say anything about it. So let me work on the cautious strength so that I don't fall.
Got you. I got you. I got you. Otherwise, the next time you get to the U.S. embassy to come to the States, you'll be hemmed. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm just kidding. All right. So, another set of questions also coming here, and this is also coming from Ruth, and Ruth is she's writing from the United Kingdom, and she said, "Hey Samuel and your guest, I've been following you, and interesting conversation. Your guest seems very knowledgeable on the subject of mental health. Now, let me ask this question. Uh, with regards to stigmatization, why is it that in the 21st century, people are still finding it difficult to accept that mental health is one of just the ordinary diseases? Is it so, or am I wrong?
It's very true. Stigma runs over everywhere. So, Doctor mentioned I'm a Mandela Washington fellow. I came to the United States with the perspective that I'll not see people with mental issues on the streets. But my first day in the state of Portland, I saw people on the street and I asked the question, here too, this place, do you have such things here? And the answer was, it's everywhere. And the understanding that people have about it is a challenge. We have not come to a realization that mental illness is just like any other condition, just like all the the medical conditions that we have. So the stigma still exists, and we as individuals within the society or in every country need to understand mental health and also teach it and also tell people that yes, even though mental illness, some of these patients from the beginning becomes aggressive and they withdraw from society and have a whole lot of behavioral problems, this can be managed, this can be treated, and these people become functional and normal and can do anything or everything that they want to do. So in this 21st century, I will not dispute the fact that majority or many people still have the notion that mental illness is infectious or is transmittable or is spiritual. It exists, but we need to do a lot of education to just take those notions off.
Very good. Thank you so much. But at the same time, um, somebody just prompted me that it looks like there's somebody singing behind you. So if you can manage that person's voice for us, we would appreciate it. I'll make you, Emmanuel, there's a perception, and people are entitled to their perception about their understanding of mental health and all that. But I agree with you. Programs like this, we will inform people, and we will give them the facts, and they'll be able to know what the real situation is when it comes to that. But now, Her Royal Highness, once again, asked a follow-up question. She said she wanted to thank you for your earlier response. But she's also asking a further question. Said, does stress cause mental illness? If I am being treated for a mental illness, what can I do to help myself? Very powerful questions.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief on this one. Yes, when we look at the precipitating factors or other than the biological factors which causes mental illness, stress is one other component which causes mental illness. So stress can lead on to anxiety and depression and so many other things. The way we are stressed, the way we interpret things, and the way we react to events or stimuli within the environment can be a cause, a precipitating cause to mental illness. So, with any person being treated or having a mental illness, you are also a component. You are not eliminated or you are not taken away from the treatment. You are involved in it. So your motivation, what you want to achieve. I believe when you have, for example, a condition like hypertension, taking anti-hypertension would make you well. So the individual will take it. I have anemia. I'm taking, if I take folate and I take antihypertensives, I'll be okay. So it's the same with mental illness. So the medication helps self-motivation and support from yourself and other people within the community would also help in the treatment models or the treatment modalities for you to be a normal functional person. The fact that you have mental illness doesn't mean that you should separate yourself or withdraw from anything that you do and think that people are thinking this way about you. No, you also have to involve in it. You also have to be self-motivated to get yourself back to the normal state of health that you can see or you want to have.
So much. And there's another school of thought. In fact, there is a group of individuals and associations who are anti-medication for psychological treatments because something that physicians always take opportunity to just give medication where medication is not needed, especially those who believe strongly that mental health it's not only caused by biological circumstances, uh, but it comes based on the issue of other external factors. So it is true that the issue of mental health need to be discussed and discussed thoroughly. And as we continue to expand that conversation, I am sure we will stand in a better position to get the understanding clearer to everyone. And so I think that our resource person has done us a great service and he has given us all the details. I have one or two more questions here before we let him go. And so this question is actually coming from Ukraine. All the way, I wonder what the time is in Ukraine now. But Emmanuel, his question to you is that my name is Joe, and I am here in Kiev in Ukraine. My question to you is that what can we do to help prevent young people, especially young adults, who smoke a lot of marijuana to the extent that their head becomes bent? I don't know if it's a direct translation of what the person wants to say, but what he's trying to say is that a lot of people smoke marijuana until they end up getting mental problems. What can we do to help these individuals?
Thank you very much for that question. In fact, what we can do to help people not to get the mental illness is to know the precipitating factors to mental illness and the biological factors which can trigger it. When we take those things out of the way of every individual, for example, stress, then the person might not suffer from any mental illness. So when it comes to substance abuse or abuse of substances, research is still ongoing. Right now, in some states in the United States, they have legalized the smoking of marijuana. I don't think United States health professionals would say that it is something which would cause mental illness. I was in a conference quite recently, and one person came out that it is the smoking of marijuana which has helped him become stable and is okay. And the point was, okay, so If you are okay, it doesn't mean that everyone will be okay on the use of marijuana. So substance abuse issues is it's a general problem in the whole world, and WHO is saying that very soon it is becoming one of the leading causes of morbidity in the world. So that's where education has to go on in the effects of the use of substance to mental illness. So we have to know the effects of substances in the causes of mental illnesses. When we teach our young ones and those who are also using the substances to help themselves, because research is still, as I said, is still ongoing about whether substances like marijuana causes mental health issues or not. And there are various schools of thought on that one. So that's my simple answer I can give to my friend from Ukraine.
Got you, got you, got you. All right, guys, all too soon. I think we have done a lot of good conversation, and it is fair that we will allow our resource guest to also take a break to enjoy himself with his family. It's weekend. So just for us to wrap up, Emmanuel, let's come back to you. To help us wrap up, and if possible, give us some few recommendations, tidbit here and there, then we can wrap up our conversation.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you to listeners for this opportunity. One of the tidbits I'll put across is the acceptance of mental health first aid, which was introduced in Australia, and I had the opportunity to also train in the United States, Maryland, to know something, to just have a knowledge on mental health. And I think when most countries adapt this and teach people within the community to have a first-hand knowledge on the symptoms of mental health, it will go a long way to help the population. So just like normal CPR, if you find someone who just falls down and collapses and is gasping for air, what do you do? Many people have been taught, and many people know how to give someone CPR. So just like CPR, why can't we also do mental health first aid, so that everyone or every individual within the community will know how to help the person with mental health problems from the beginning, so that it doesn't get to a level where we have to now seek major treatment or do inappropriate referrals. My concluding remarks are that our minds and our bodies are always together in our lives, except when we enter the healthcare system. There they are often separated and totally distinct specialties take over. And this is by Cynthia Watson, a medical director. Treating the whole person through the integration of mental health and general medical health care can save lives, reduce negative health outcomes, facilitate quality care, and promote efficiency and cost saving. We should see the body and the mind as inseparable. They are interdependent and interactive, and scientific evidence supports the foundation of this. Without mental health, there is no health. Mental health is also part of health. So we should also treat our mental health as a basic thing, and we should all help in providing services of mental health to our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this insightful conversation, and we are very grateful for your time and all the details that you've shared with us. It is my prayer that a lot of people may have learned today a lot of things that we shared, and that we'll be able to make our own informed decisions and choices based on the background that Emmanuel has given to us. So on that note, folks, on behalf of the technical team, our executive producer, Michael Cecil Niko Tejani, our sound engineer, Mr. David Donko, our marketing manager, Miss Lily Valerie Odwe, and our senior graphic director, Mr. Benjamin Abraham Akwe, for all your support and getting this work done successfully. On behalf of the entire team, again, my name is Samuel Jacobs Abe, and I was your host. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evenings with your families, and enjoy the follow-up music and the next show, and we'll speak with our guest offline. God bless you guys. Enjoy the
Hello, my name is Quan Green, and I would love to share some products that I found that are very beneficial to not only my body, but I'm sure that they would really help your body. I found out that a lot of us are impacted and we need to be detoxed, and I found some wonderful products that will safely detox you and help you to eliminate the waste and feel good about yourself. We also have products that will help grow your hair and give your skin more vibrant radiance and suppleness and help with wrinkles. I also have products that will help with joint pain as well as help you to lose weight. These products are all natural, therefore you don't have to worry about putting something in your body that's going to add problems to the problems that you may already be facing. So if you're interested, please give me a call at 706-426-1471, or you can email me at preciousjewel492@gmail.com. Thank you and have a blessed day.
To Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.